shadow of glamorous selfies, an OnlyFans model's romance turns into a chilling crime scene. This tale unfolds in Miami's luxury high-rises, where a relationship's descent leads to a deadly altercation. Please remember, this video contains graphic content which some viewers might find disturbing. Courtney Clenney, known to the world through her online alias Courtney Taylor, was born on April 21, 1996. With over 2 million followers on Instagram and more than $3 million earned on OnlyFans, she carved a niche in the realms of social media. But beneath this glossy veneer lay a history of substance abuse with 2 DWI arrests. She started a relationship with Christian in 2020. Christian, an ambitious tech entrepreneur, crossed paths with Courtney in a story that began like many modern romances, sparked in a digital sphere and cemented in the concrete jungle of Miami. Their love story was a whirlwind of highs and lows, and became known for its volatility and abusive incidents, including on October 8, 2021, when Courtney stabbed Christian in the leg. Arguments in the couple were frequent, and the police were no strangers to the door, called upon to defuse situations that often escalated beyond control. The relationship bore the heavy scars of accusations and restraining orders, painting a picture of a love marred by turmoil and toxicity. On April 3, 2022, at 4:58 p.m., Miami's sun-drenched tranquility was pierced by a call to 911 from a luxury high-rise known as the One Paraíso Condo building on Northeast 7th Avenue in Edgewater. Courtney Clenney, in a state of distress, reported an unthinkable act, the stabbing of her boyfriend, Christian during a heated altercation. The police arrived to find a gruesome sight. Christian was severely wounded, his life slipping away amidst the opulence that surrounded them. Courtney, covered in blood, was in shock, her reality forever altered. Despite the swift arrival of emergency services, Christian's injuries were too severe. He succumbed to his wounds, leaving behind a wake of questions and a community in disbelief. The aftermath was immediate and intense. The once influential social media persona of Courtney was now under the nation's scrutiny, her every move dissected and discussed. The police took her into custody, trying to piece together the events that led to Christian's death. Disclaimer: these are only speculations and do not reflect a professional psychological analysis. The nature of Courtney's relationship with Christian, including any patterns of conflict, abuse, or dysfunction, could have contributed to an environment where violence seemed like an option. High-conflict relationships, particularly those with a history of physical confrontations, can escalate over time. In some cases, individuals claim that their actions were in self-defense. If Courtney felt threatened or believed that she was in imminent danger, she might argue that she acted out of a need to protect herself, even if the threat perception was not accurate. Another aspect considered is the role of external influences, such as societal pressures, cultural norms, or the impact of living a life under the scrutiny of social media. The way individuals portray their lives online versus the reality they live can create cognitive dissonance, leading to stress, anxiety, and a distorted sense of self and relationships. Intense emotions like jealousy, anger, or fear can lead to impulsive actions. A particularly heated argument or perceived threat could act as a trigger, leading to a loss of control and violent behavior. Despite initial release under the assumption of self-defense, growing evidence led to Clenney's arrest for second-degree murder on August 10, 2022, a serious accusation that carries grave legal consequences. The charge reflected the severity of the act and indicated that while perhaps not premeditated, the killing was considered by the authorities to be a result of an intentional act fueled by the heat of the moment. In the initial hearings, the courtroom became a battleground of narratives. The prosecution painted Courtney as a perpetrator of a violent crime, emphasizing the tumultuous nature of the relationship and the events leading up to Christian's death. They brought forth evidence, including distressing audio recordings and text messages, attempting to stitch together a narrative of escalating violence culminating in murder. Conversely, the defense argued for a narrative of self-defense, suggesting Courtney's actions were a desperate response to Christian attempting to choke her. Courtney claimed she threw a knife at Christian from a distance in self-defense, resulting in a fatal chest wound. They highlighted any past instances of alleged aggression from Christian, painting Courtney as a victim in a pattern of domestic abuse. However, Courtney's argument for self-defense was weakened by her inconsistent accounts and the lack of defensive wounds, particularly on her neck, where she claimed Christian grabbed her. The evidence and expert testimony indeed suggested a close-range, intentional stab. She's currently being held without bond at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center awaiting trial. The Courtney Clenney case is not just a narrative of personal tragedy, but a subject of legal scrutiny and ethical debate, raising questions about the justice system, self-defense laws, and media responsibility. The prosecution must prove beyond reasonable doubt that Courtney's actions were not justifiable under self-defense laws, which vary significantly from state to state. These laws are often complex, involving the consideration of whether the accused had a reasonable fear of imminent harm and if the force used was necessary and proportional. Additionally, the case prompts a societal reflection on the portrayal and treatment of individuals involved in high-profile crimes. It raises questions about the impact of social media fame on personal lives and legal proceedings, and how society judges and empathizes with the complex, often flawed individuals at the center of these stories. As we close the chapter on the gripping and tragic story of Courtney Clenney and Christian Obumseli, it is important to reflect on the lessons this case imparts. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the complexities of human relationships and the sometimes devastating impact of emotional turmoil. It highlights the fine line between love, mental and physical abuse, and the urgent need for awareness and intervention in situations of domestic violence. What do you think? Is Courtney Clenney really the aggressor or actually the victim of domestic abuse? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for joining us today on Casual Evil. Until next time, stay safe and keep seeking the truth.